so well that everyone believed him. My friends believed him. His family believed him. Even people who barely knew us believed him. And for a while, I almost believed him too. That's the frightening thing about someone who masters deception. They don't just convince others. They slowly convince you to doubt yourself. My name is Emma, and for 12 years, I was married to a man named Ryan. To the outside world, Ryan was everything a husband should be. Charming. Generous. Successful. Whenever we attended gatherings, people would smile and tell me how lucky I was. Ryan is such a great guy. You're living the dream. I wish my husband was more like him. Every compliment felt like a small knife. Because the Ryan they knew wasn't the Ryan I lived with. At home, he was completely different. Cold when nobody was watching. Dismissive when I expressed concerns. And somehow, every argument ended the same way. With me apologizing. Even when I wasn't the one who caused the problem. If he forgot an important date, it became my fault for expecting too much. If he hurt my feelings, I was being too sensitive. If I questioned something suspicious, I was overreacting. Over time, I stopped trusting my own judgment. I started wondering if maybe I really was the problem. Maybe everyone else could see something I couldn't. Maybe Ryan was right. Maybe I was impossible to please. But deep inside, a small voice kept whispering that something wasn't right. And that voice became impossible to ignore the day I found a message that wasn't meant for me. It happened on a quiet Sunday afternoon. Ryan had left his laptop open before leaving for a business meeting. I wasn't searching for anything. I wasn't trying to spy. I simply wanted to print a document. Then a notification appeared. One short message. Just one sentence. Don't worry. She still believes everything. My heart instantly dropped. The sender's name wasn't familiar. But the message felt personal. Dangerously personal. For several minutes, I sat frozen. Trying to convince myself there had to be another explanation. There always was. At least according to Ryan. But what I didn't know that day was that this single message would become the first crack in a carefully constructed illusion. An illusion that had fooled nearly everyone around us. Including me. Over the next few days, I couldn't stop thinking about that message. Every conversation felt different. Every smile felt rehearsed. Every excuse sounded scripted. For the first time, I stopped accepting Ryan's explanations without question. Instead, I started paying attention. And the more attention I paid, the more uncomfortable truths I discovered. There were unexplained expenses. Frequent calls that disappeared from his records. Meetings that never seemed to exist. At first, I only found small inconsistencies. But eventually those inconsistencies became patterns. And patterns became evidence. One evening, I finally confronted him. I showed him the message. For a split second, I saw panic in his eyes. Then it vanished. Ryan smiled. Actually smiled. Emma, you're misunderstanding everything. Those words had rescued him countless times before. And normally, they would have worked again. But something inside me had changed. I wasn't looking at the loving husband everyone admired. I was looking at a man desperately protecting a story. A story he needed everyone to believe. Including me. The argument lasted hours. And by the end of it, Ryan somehow managed to turn himself into the victim. Again. According to him, I was invading his privacy. According to him, I was creating problems where none existed. According to him, I was damaging our marriage. When the conversation ended, I found myself crying. Not because I believed him. Because I finally realized how many times he had done this before. For years, Ryan had controlled every narrative. If we argued, he told others I was emotional. If I pulled away, he said I was distant. If I questioned him, he called me insecure. And people believed him because he delivered every lie with confidence. Then something unexpected happened. One of Ryan's former coworkers contacted me. At first, I ignored the message. But eventually curiosity won. We met for coffee. What she told me changed everything. She explained that Ryan had spent years creating different versions of himself for different people. He told coworkers stories that weren't true. He exaggerated events. He manipulated situations to gain sympathy. And whenever someone challenged him, he simply rewrote the story. Suddenly, everything made sense. The confusion. The self-doubt. The constant feeling that reality kept shifting beneath my feet. I wasn't losing my mind. I had been living with someone who treated truth as something flexible. That realization hurt. But it also gave me strength. Because once you see manipulation clearly, it starts losing its power. And for the first time in years, I stopped being afraid. I didn't scream. I didn't seek dramatic revenge. Instead, I became patient. I documented everything. Saved messages. Recorded timelines. Collected proof. Months later, Ryan attempted to tell another version of our story. Only this time, facts stood in his way. When friends asked questions, I had answers. When family members expressed confusion, I showed evidence. And slowly, something remarkable happened. People began noticing contradictions. Stories stopped matching. Excuses stopped making sense. The image Ryan had spent years building started falling apart. Not because I attacked him. Because the truth finally had room to speak. Watching that happen was strangely emotional. Part of me felt validated. Another part felt heartbroken. After all, I wasn't watching a stranger's reputation crumble. I was watching the man I once loved become exposed by his own actions. Eventually, our marriage ended. Not with shouting. Not with dramatic scenes. Just with acceptance. The acceptance that trust cannot survive where honesty doesn't exist. The months that followed were difficult. But they were also peaceful. For the first time in years, I wasn't constantly questioning myself. I wasn't wondering if my feelings were valid. I wasn't asking permission to believe my own experiences. I was finally free. Looking back now, I understand something I didn't understand then. A convincing lie can survive for a long time. Sometimes years. Sometimes decades. But maintaining a lie requires endless effort. The truth requires none. Eventually, reality catches up. Eventually, masks become too heavy to wear. And eventually, people reveal themselves. Ryan's greatest mistake wasn't lying to everyone. It was believing he could do it forever. Because in the end, the truth didn't need to fight him. It simply waited. And when it finally arrived, it changed everything. If this experience taught me anything, it's this. Never ignore the quiet voice inside you when something feels wrong. Sometimes that voice sees the truth long before everyone else does. And trusting it may save you years of heartbreak.